So do you think it's time for a change?
Possibly, but, you know, I don't want Labour in. No. I definitely don't want Labour in, no.
I'm still a bit wary. Sometimes it's better the devil you know, isn't it? I don't trust any of them, to be honest.
What are you worried that Labour are going to do in power?
I think they're going to put up taxes. I know they say they're not, but I think like poll tax or council tax and things like that, I think they're all going to go up.
There's a lot way to go. There is really a lot way, but I prefer, you know, the Conservative way than the Labour way. I think that the most thanks should be given for guiding us through that terrible pandemic.
But what about the managing of the contracts and the parties that went on in Downing Street? Were those things that concerned you?
Well, not really, no, because I think we all broke the rules at some stage. We used to see people having parties on the beach, didn't we? So, yeah.
It's time to go to the Sunshine Coast to see down there who they like the most. Sometimes blue and sometimes yellow. If you see the Peeps team, you gotta say hello. Peeps, Peeps, it's a general election. Peeps, Peeps, it's a general election.
Welcome to Eastbourne, the Sunshine Coast. Across the country, Tories have been mainly worried about Labour. But here, the story's a little different. It's the Liberal Democrats. We're here to find out why.
As you walk around Eastbourne or drive around Eastbourne, there are Lib Dem posters outside many houses. And the Lib Dems, we've had something through our letterbox twice a week at least.
I'm torn because my children are in the very fortunate position that they're in private school, and they might not be able to stay in private school if Labour get in, but equally something needs to change because the country's not working as it is. Through our taxes we're already paying for state school places. The reason they went into private school in the first place was because when we first moved to Eastbourne there was no room for them in school. There was room for one of them. And we were told that we would get no choice over where the other three went, that they'd be in 4 different schools between them, which just isn't possible when both of us were working. So that's why they're in that system, and we've sacrificed hugely to get them in that system, but we're not part of the mega wealthy pack that if the cost goes up, we'll have to pull them out.
Have you decided who you're going to vote for?
Yeah.
Who are you going to vote for?
What party?
Yeah.
Liberal Party.
And you?
Lib Dem.
Why are you voting for the Lib Dems?
Because there have been quite a consistency, and particularly the previous gentleman was in charge in here. What's the name? Lloyd.
Stephen Lloyd.
Yeah, I was excellent man. I mean,
he was without doubt. Stephen Lloyd was one of the best politicians anywhere. He was in with the people. He used to go and see people in their homes everywhere.
But what do you think about the general government that we've seen in the past 10 years? Is there anything that you can point to that you think they've done well?
No, not particularly, unfortunately.
So do you think it's time for a change?
Well, it may be a change, but I really don't like the changes that are on offer. And I think that the Labour Party are being they don't ever seem to answer a question directly.
It's easy for them at the moment in opposition to make so many promises, you know, but when you look at it, you think, well, where are they going to get the money from and that sort of thing, you know. It's going to be very, very difficult for them.
But when they took over, Conservatives, there was no money in the pot.
No, the last time Labour
I think everyone forgets that as well.
Yeah, they bankrupt the country. I remember when the Conservatives won, they said there's no money in the bank.
Normally voted Conservative or Lib Dem.
And now, would you vote Conservative again, or do you think they've just lost your vote?
I feel like I couldn't in good conscience vote for them, partly because I am quite angry that I feel like they've completely ignored what's happening in Israel and Palestine, which I think has been a bit wimpy. I think somebody needed to step up and do something, and they haven't.
Basically, we would vote with our conscience. So we would look for a socialist candidate, and if there isn't one, we would struggle to know who to vote for, because obviously you would say, well, if you're a socialist, would you vote for Labour? And we couldn't. In all conscience, we could not vote for Labour. Starmer's attitude towards the Israel and Gaza conflict, we think, is appalling. The attitude towards not selling arms to Israel, his attitude is appalling. We also think that his treatment of Diane Abbott is appalling. And just to sum up, he welcomes a politician that we know very, very well. Looking at our local television, we see Natalie Elphicke often on our local television, extreme right-wing, anti-immigrant, and Keir Starmer welcomes her with open arms into the Labour Party, and a black woman, the first black woman ever to represent Labour in the House of Commons, and he treats her appallingly.
When Jeremy Corbyn was leader, we were able to quite reasonably vote for Labour, even though we didn't know he had all the answers, but he was better. We knew that he was going to do something for working people. With Keir Starmer, I cannot see any point in voting for Labour because they are not going to improve the lives of working people.
And would you mind them putting up taxes if they were going to, invest more in hospitals and education in the country?
Well, I think they need to. I think there's enough money going into it at the moment. I think they need to sort out the NHS. There's too many people high up not earning massive money, and the people that need the money, the nurses and the doctors, aren't getting it. It's all going to managers and people like that.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely what I think,
The hospital, everything overflowing because not because the government doesn't put the money into it, because of the negligence of the people. They follow a wrong diet. Consequently, you've got to pay for it. I mean, on my opinion, if you neglect your body, if you expect the country to look after your body, if you neglect your body. I mean, have a decent diet. So if you neglect your body, expect national health to look after you, you have your private things. That's what I would do. I don't understand why the mentality of people, they claim there is no beds. There's no beds because you people create problem. Look at here, that's the obesity around it. It's terrible.
For you, who've obviously voted Tory all your life, have you?
Once I didn't.
Once you didn't?
Once I didn't.
But you are pretty committed to the Conservatives. Do you feel let down by...
Well, yes, I think yes, I do. Well, I do happen to know a Tory MP. I'm not going to say the name. He's not from this area at all, miles away from here. And he works very hard, but I'm not sure that many of the MPs do work very hard, to be perfectly honest.
And we've had obviously 5 prime ministers in pretty quick succession. Yes. Are there any out of those that you think we should have kept them? They would have been good?
Absolutely no.
Absolutely not. And particularly Liz Truss. I mean, we were in a pretty parlous state before Liz Truss. And look what she did for the economy.
Well, the whole thing is basically I don't know. It's like a lost cause. You don't know who to vote. If you vote for the Liberal Dem, it's not going to satisfy me because I'm not. Conservative, I'm not. Labour, I'm not. So the whole thing is it's like very much like the American election, really, to go for Biden or to go for Trump. So
there's no one who you really like. No. But what about just voting for the best out of what you've been given? You'd rather not vote at all?
No, because that is my conscience say no. Let's wait and see the 4th of July. I mean, okay, I will follow the American sort of Independence Day more than or football game than go on. I'm not really. No.
So you're not hopeful that much is going to change?
No. If a good day, just come and walk in the seafront. That's it.
Okay, so Eastbourne's obviously quite an important seat because it might swing either way. Have you guys decided who you're going to vote for?
I have, yeah.
Who are you going to vote for?
Reform.
Reform? Why is that?
Because I like him and I'm fed up with the others.
What policy particularly do you think, that's what we need?
Well, all the immigrants that's coming in is one of them. I'm not against them, but there's too many coming in.
The Ukrainian lady I met, I've got nothing against them coming over, when she arrived, she was given a flat for 5 years, completely free. All her utilities are paid for. She's got a bank account, she's got a bus pass, she's got a dentist appointment. She's got everything within 3 weeks of being here. And I know people have been on the housing for years. And she's walked into a 5-year totally free property, brand new. It's just not right.
No, it's not.
Well, what do you think we should do though? Because surely those people, they need help, and you know, we're in a position to help them.
But we need, our children need help. They haven't got places to go. They're still living with the parents.
You said we need some big change, and some people view that big change as reform. What would you say to the people in Eastbourne who think we want a big change, we're going to vote reform?
Well, you know, we're the opposite end of the spectrum. We're socialists. That would be appalling. Can't think of anything worse than people moving to the right. Haven't we had enough of nasty governments? Do we really want more, worse than we've already got?
I mean, the most worrying thing is the immigration problem. Without a doubt, he said he was going to stop the small boats, and he hasn't done that, has he?
How does that affect you guys, immigration?
Well, walking up and down the seafront, you know, through this year, we've seen the hotels chock-a-block.
Yeah, disgusting.
With immigrants, you know, and they're living a super lifestyle. So I can't blame them really for wanting to come over.
But some people would say, you know, it's a really, really dangerous journey to come over, and you must be pretty desperate to do that.
They always come on sort of weather like this, don't they? They're not totally stupid.
Well, I mean, there are thousands of people who have died.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, that's very sad. That is very sad. But as I say, it's because of what we give them here that encourages them to take that risk.
I think Nigel Farage is out for Nigel Farage, personally.
I don't think we should send money abroad for foreign aid. I think it should be kept in this country until this country is sorted out first. Then anything extra you have left over, then you help others. You help your own first. There's even a saying, charity begins at home. If you can't help your own people, why are you trying to look big on the world stage? Look how much I've given that country. Look how much I'm doing for the environment. And you're spending all our taxes. Tories have just run the country down.
I don't like the thing I don't like about the boats coming over is the amount of people that end up dying. That's what I don't like. You know, they spend all this money to get over here, and you know they're going to get over here regardless. So we should have something in place over there to get them here safely and get them in properly. And instead of them spending their own money, they've got their own money to set themselves up here as well. Instead of taking that risk in these boats, it's awful.
All this D-Day celebrations, those men that die, they would be turning in their graves. There's no free speech. You can't say what you want. You can only speak freely with your friends, because if somebody overhears you, they can say, I was offended. And all this woke stuff, all this trans stuff, all this, God, I better shut up, because it's just what has happened to what has happened to society.
In the end, you know, Britain is a capitalist country, and the capitalist media and capitalist politicians do control. And unfortunately, as we see, Brexit, you know, the media can be very, very powerful. Capitalist media, right-wing media can be very powerful, and people can vote for change, and look at what Brexit brought to them. So when they ask for reform, you know, be careful what you wish for.
But you get a lot of families come along and they don't respect the seafront, they just let litter blow everywhere and they don't care.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't touch the food they're selling there. No way.
I don't buy ice creams on the seafront unless it's wrapped.
I would die if I ate this off.
If it's wrapped.
Good tips, yeah.
I certainly don't want mum with a chocolate that they've been using the till and put a chocolate thing in it when they've got...
Guys, thank you so much.
It's time to go to the Sunshine Coast to see down there who they like the most. Sometimes blue and sometimes yellow. If you see the Peeps team, you gotta say hello, Peeps.